Does the trailer confirm or debunk Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield appearing in the film? So let's go with the pro section real quick. All right. So in the film, the trailer confirms multiverse. That's right. So even as someone who has not seen any of Marvel's Phase 4, except for What If, that's the only one I've seen, even I know that, hey, Marvel is building to some multiverse storylines. And that's how a lot of people have been assuming that Tobey and Andrew would appear in the film is via multiverse. Like, get a portal to the Raimi verse, here's a portal to the Webb verse, and bring them together, kind of like a live action Into the Spider-Verse, except with them all being Peter Parker. So it, you know, if you were on the fence about it, are Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx playing, MCU versions of the characters, or are they reprising their roles? Multiverse does strongly suggest that they are reprising their roles from the previous films. And let's go right here. Speaking of that, Alfred, Molina and Jamie Foxx are in the film. So that's kind of what started this whole thing about, is this going to be a multiverse storyline? Because before, a lot of people were thinking about the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, in which Peter Parker's identity is revealed to the world. Everyone kind of assumed that that's what the third film will be about. And it wasn't until the announcement that Jamie Foxx from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield that the idea of multiverse kind of started to spring up. And I think there was an Instagram post that Jamie Foxx did, which showed maybe some fan art or possibly concept art of the three Spider-Men together. So there was a little bit of that, but then it really heated up when they announced that Alfred Molina, Dr. Octopus himself from the Tobey Maguire era, was going to appear in the film. So that really shows like, hey, maybe there is something to this whole multiverse thing. So there's that. Also, in the trailer, we saw Green Goblin's pumpkin bomb. So Green Goblin is a character that was never officially announced for the film, like how Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx were officially announced to be Dr. Octopus and Electro in the film. Green Goblin was never announced, and yet we see the classic William Dafoe pumpkin bomb in a specific shot they showed in the trailer. And we heard a very iconic laugh, the creepy Green Goblin laugh that William Dafoe did such a great job in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Yeah, never announced. So this was our first time we actually had some legit proof that maybe there's at least a reference to the Green Goblin. Whether that is William Dafoe actually is in the film, or they just reused the laugh from one of the previous Spider-Man films, and it's just a little Easter egg. But, a lot of people have been thinking that William Dafoe's Green Goblin would be in the film, and in the trailer, we at least got a hint. There's a nice little reference to him being in the trailer. All right. So, what are the cons? Cons. How does the trailer show that maybe Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield aren't in the film? Because, a lot of people have been going and believing, like, hey, they're going to be in it, and we don't really know that for sure. So, there's that. So, one thing that the trailer Sorry, I'm trying to get my notes up real quick. One thing that I think we kind of been forgetting a little bit is that J.K. Simmons is in No Way Home and isn't the Raimi version. So J.K. Simmons, end of Spider-Man Far From Home, he appeared as J. Jonah Jameson, everyone's favorite newspaper editor in the Marvel universe, except clearly it was a different version where, I mean, he's bald in this version, and compared to the newspaper editor that he was in the Raimi films, this one was more of a television pundit, kind of like an Alex Jones type character. Is that his name? I think so. So we have him in the film, but he's not the same character. And now look, the film heavily, I mean, at least the trailer heavily implies, because I mean, we didn't really see a lot of Jamie Foxx. I don't even think we saw him. We saw a little bit of lightning in the trailer, but we did see Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. And it's at least heavily implied that this is the Sam Raimi version. Although technically, if he's alive, it would be an alternate version of the Sam Raimi Doc Ock. But really, it's close enough. But there's that. So we do have JK in the film, but he's not really the Raimi version. All right. This one is also pro and con. Goblin's pumpkin bomb, but we never see the character. Yes, we saw the pumpkin bomb. We heard the laugh, but we didn't actually see the Green Goblin. You know, maybe the trailer is trying to save some stuff, but if William Dafoe, if he's in the film as Green Goblin, why would you not show that in the trailer? Why would you hide that until, assuming probably the release of the film? Like, if they're not showing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield or William Dafoe in the trailer, this first trailer, to, you know, have a big pop at the end, then maybe they're not, if they are in the film, maybe they wouldn't show them in the trailer. But why wouldn't you show them in the trailer? So that right there, maybe the little goblin pumpkin bomb is just something that fell through a portal and we hear the laugh via the portal. And that's all there is. Like, it's just a fun little Easter egg. So what else is there? Well, I know this is a sore spot for a lot of people. But going back to, no, look, I get it. It's heavily implied that Doc Ock is the Raimi version. But there's another thing that we need to bring up. Evan Peters' Quicksilver in WandaVision. Now, full disclosure, I've not seen WandaVision, but I remember when seeing online the reaction to the reveal of Evan Peters playing Quicksilver in WandaVision, the excitement that people had, and then the disappointment when it wasn't really Quicksilver, it was some guy named Ralph, and I won't even bother to mention the joke that they've made. So, yes, we had Evan Peters as Quicksilver for a while, but then there was a twist. He was not really Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men films. So, let's look at the competition real quick. I know some people are like, no, let's stick with Marvel. But no, let's just look at, because there is something kind of similar happening with DC right now, and that is DCEU, The Flash, officially announced Michael Keaton as Batman. So, remember a year ago when it just came out of the blue, Michael Keaton is going to be Batman again in The Flash. And like the hype there was of, oh my God, my childhood Batman is going to be back on the big screen. I mean, Michael Keaton is my favorite live action Batman. So, even if it sucks, I'm glad there was at least an attempt to bring him back. So there was all that excitement, and The Flash never did try to hide that Keaton is in this film. Versus with Spider-Man No Way Home, why would Marvel want to hide that until the release of the film? I mean, if they had it officially announced, even before filming started, that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be in the film, that would have broke the internet. People have been like, yeah, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. Because people love those versions. And to see them again would have had a lot of the same excitement that Michael Keaton is as Batman. So, just compared to the two different companies, they announced that Keaton is going to be in the film versus Marvel didn't. And they've been denying it too. And it's really just the fans just saying, no, we know they're in it. It's the worst kept secret in Hollywood that they're not in it. So there's that you gotta take into account of, if they're in it, why wouldn't they officially announce it? So let's also bring up this. So they never hid pop appearances like Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War or Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok. Is that how you spell Ragnarok? Oh, close enough, I guess. So even compared to previous Marvel films, obviously Spider-Man being in Civil War was as much of a pop as Tobey and Andrew being in No Way Home would have been a pop. But in Civil War, they never did hide Spider-Man. I think he wasn't in the first trailer, and a lot of the CGI had to be done with his suit. So they probably weren't able to put him in the first trailer, but they did have him in the second trailer. And even before that, he was officially announced as being in the film. It was announced like the first MCU movie Spider-Man is going to appear in is Captain America Civil War. And we knew that. Another thing is Doctor Strange and Thor Ragnarok. That was a pretty brief role. I think it's only like 3. It's like less than 5 minutes. I think it may only be 3. But it was announced even before filming, I think, that Benedict Cumberbatch would appear in Thor Ragnarok as Doctor Strange. So if Marvel is actually hiding the fact that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in the film, it would completely contradict what they've done in previous films, even in Avengers Endgame, right? They wanted to make us all think that like Spider-Man, Black Panther were dead, but they were officially announced as they will be in the film because we all just knew that. All right. Now, this to me is kind of the big thing about why I don't think Tobey and Andrew are in the film. Why officially announce Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx but not Tobey and Andrew. If they were going to try and keep it secret that this is going to connect to the Raimi verse, to the Marc Webb verse, why would you announce Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx, but not Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield? You know, already by announcing Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx, you kind of already created the expectation of, hey, this is multiverse. This is combining the legacy of all three Spider-Men. I mean, maybe four if we find out that Peter B. Parker, Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse pop up in it somewhere. But why? I mean, I would think, like, if you're going to announce Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx, you probably would have announced Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. So my guess is that, now it changes a lot for me, but my guess is that I don't think Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in the film.